Hello folks, Downtown Prepper here. Today I will be putting a quick video together showing you a certain type of food that you can make in a bugging situation. The inspiration for this video is that currently Indiana is pretty much shut down. It is about negative 15 degrees outside with a wind chill about 40 degrees. And yesterday we were hit with about a foot of snow. Communities all around us are having their power lines snapped by falling branches, motorists hitting power poles, and it is taking out their power for a couple days at a time. Well, here's a couple ideas of how you could turn a horrible situation to something bearable. Really quickly, for warmth, this is a great idea. Let me get my camera down here. What I have here is a ceramic pot and a few tea candles. Sorry, we're gonna get sideways here. And this thing right now is hot. It's super hot. 4 tea candles and some ceramic pots. You get 3 or 4, put it around the kitchen, and it'll heat up your house. Now, I do want to state really quickly that our power is not out. Our grid has not gone down yet, but I will be doing this video simulating a grid down scenario. I will not be using any power from the grid, the house, the electric provider. This will be basically simulating the grid's been down for a couple days and you're eating your scraps. Today we will be making a little bit of pasta, a little bit of fettuccine. Very simple recipe. It needs, it goes right along with all of our preps. You can make fettuccine, and if you have canned beef, meatballs. Boom. If you have prepped tomatoes, you have your sauce. This is why flour is huge, and basically I'm going to be showing you real world applications for those ingredients. Okay, moving right into it. Obviously you need flour, specifically 2 cups worth of flour, 3 eggs, fork. Most importantly, you will need a pasta roller. Now, you can pick these up. A lot of times you can score them at yard sales or Craigslist for 15 to 20 bucks. Or you can just bone up and pay, I believe they're about $30 to $50 for an entry level one. And the sky's the limit there forth. The flowers are obviously just for looks. What we're gonna use to actually cook today is a Coleman stove, a camper stove. I've actually prepped some of these 16-ounce propane containers and a stock pot. So moving right into it, today my assistant again is Homemade Prepper, and she's gonna be showing us how to make this pasta by hand. So go ahead, Homemade Prepper, and explain to the YouTube audience.
Okay, so first you're going to put a well in the center of your flour so that you can put your eggs in there. Then you're going to crack your eggs into a custard cup. You can also do it right in the center. This is just a little bit of an easier way to do it if you have the supplies available. I think I saw another shell go in. Okay.
And again, we're doing this for the purposes of being neat, but you can crack these eggs right into that well and stir it yourself. Stir it right into it. This would be ideal for an actual bugging scenario where water is essential and you can't waste any doing dishes. But fortunately, we're not at that point yet. Moving on.
Okay, you're just going to mix these together with a fork. And you're going to start to mix together your flour and your egg. Try to keep your area as little as possible. But this is pretty messy when you do it on a countertop.
And again, one of the reasons I did it on the countertop is once the pasta actually forms, it's easy to peel off of the surface. And then you can take some hydrogen peroxide, some bleach, and disinfect the area without, again, wasting a lot of water doing dishes. So how long do you work this?
You want to form a dough. So you're just going to keep working it with your hands gently until you get to that state where it looks more like a dough and a lot less messy. If you were using a food processor, this would take literally 15 seconds, but it takes a lot longer by hand. You can see it kind of starting to come together, starting to soak up the flour.
And at first, this is going to look like you did something wrong. It's definitely not going to look like a dough. It's going to look really floury, dry, but just keep working it for about 10 to 15 minutes. Work that ball and then obviously scoop up all the excess. Now in a bugging situation, you'd want to waste as little as possible, so you'd want a scraper of some sort to help you with picking up all the excess. Okay, we have kneaded this for about, it didn't take very long. It was from about 7 to 10 minutes. And we formed a dough ball, and Homemade Prepper will take over.
So your dough shouldn't have any flour falling off of it or anything. That's how you know it's ready. Cut it in half and flatten it into a small disc, and use some of the flour left on your table to just kind of give it an extra coat of flour before we put it into our pasta roller. Now, if you don't have a pasta roller, you can easily use a rolling pin and a knife. This is just a lot faster, and it doesn't require any electricity. So we're going to pump it through the pasta roller just on the lowest setting a couple of times. And then you're going to flatten it into a square.
And this part is key if you have a pasta roller.
And put it through again. That gives it a lot better of an appearance.
And really quickly, I decided to stay true with the essence of staying off the grid. My lighting is coming from a couple flashlights and a flashlight up there, but it goes to show you with just the right kind of lighting what really goes a long way, but really just the candles would do. But moving on.
Okay. After you put it through a couple times, You're gonna put it about halfway through, and you're gonna seal it into a loop. And this is just to make it a lot faster. And this way, especially if you're working by yourself, you don't have to stop and start again. I've done it the other way about a zillion times, and it's longer, but this is actually a lot easier.
And we actually found this technique from a person on YouTube as well, and I will put a link at the corner. It should be up there now. And go check this his video out. He gives another, basically the same pasta recipe, and he definitely deserves props for inventing this little loop technique because it is pretty genius.
And you're just gonna bring the rollers closer together as it gets flatter and smoother. So do about 30 seconds on each setting. It goes up to 8, and I think at 8 the rollers are the closest that they will come together. Getting close here. We may not need to put it all the way through. How thick you want your dough really depends on what kind of pasta you're making with it. Because we're gonna be making a chicken noodle stew, we're gonna want the noodles, they don't need to be super thin, we actually kind of want them to be thicker. So I think this is about the perfect setting. Okay, so give me the dough cutter. Alright, so we're gonna cut it, and can you, so just grab it from that side. Pull it out. And you can see that one small ball of dough has transformed into a very long sheet of pasta. As these sheets are, you can actually use them for lasagna. But we're going to cut them into noodles. Okay. Or actually the machine's going to do that for us. So next we're going to choose a noodle setting. This machine will do fettuccine and spaghetti. And for this part you're really going to need a helper.
Oh, if I don't trip over the camera. Excuse me, folks. And it's always a good idea to have a little bit of a flour laying around just to get the pasta to not stick.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, and here's another shot of how to spread out the pasta the right way, I suppose.
You come under it.
And it again helps if you had a helping hand, but slide your hand under it and be gentle, but you know it's not made out of glass.
Cut it there.
Cut it there.
We'll just put it on the rack.
And immediately, watch out, honey. You would immediately put it on the drying rack and spread it out. Okay, the next step in the process is making a chicken broth. There we go. So we'll let that light up. We'll let it boil. Okay, this has been boiling for about 30 minutes now. It boiled for about 15 minutes, then we took it down to simmer for about another 15. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now is make a slurry, and Homemade Prepper is gonna take over here.
Okay, so to make a slurry, it's pretty simple. You're going to about 1.5 cups of water, and you're going to do about 2 tablespoons of flour inside of the water. Next, if you have a sealable container, even a mason jar with a lid, that would be fine. You're going to shake it up.
Oh.
Make sure it's sealed first. And then you're going to shake it up. The point is to incorporate all of the water and flour together. And we're going to add that to our soup, but not quite yet.
And the reason you would want to add a slurry is because just adding a little bit of water and flour to your stew, basically you make it heartier stew. It makes your preps essentially feel like it's going a longer way. It's heartier too, which is homier, makes you feel better.
Just add whatever chicken you want to add to it, or you can even do turkey. And you're also going to add your slurry. And you're just going to stir it together with a wooden spoon. If you have any vegetables that you want to add, this would be the point that you would also add them as well. I am going to add some onions for us.
Great thing about onions and potatoes is they can be put in baskets, be put in boxes, and can be really stored for long periods of time. You can cycle through your onion and potato stocks. And you can literally have a month's worth of onion and potatoes.
We're also going to add a can of peas. Give it some more nutrients.
And I pulled these cans from the prepping shelf. Add a can of sliced carrots.
Okay, you're going to want to let that cook for about 15 minutes, and then you're going to add your pasta. And so we'll be back in about 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and add the pasta. Because we're using fresh pasta instead of commercial pasta, it's going to only take about 5 minutes to cook. The noodles will start to float when you're done. Any longer than 5 minutes, and it's going to become mushy, so you want to make sure that you time it. And after that, our stew will be done.
Okay, folks, we're gonna let this boil for a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna enjoy some delicious homemade chicken and noodle pasta. We do appreciate you guys watching this. This will be video 1 of a series of videos showing you how to make basic food preps with basic supplies. So, again, thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. Until then, this has been Downtown Prepper, along with Homemade Prepper. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.